Hey guys, number one Marmaduke fan here. I'm still reading books trying to decide what to get my nephew for Christmas. I remembered really liking Usagi Yojimbo, and Usagi Yojimbo is now like a guest star in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. So I picked up an old copy of the book. After I read it, I really enjoyed it. It's really good. I think my 4-year-old nephew is still a bit young for this because it's got, like seppuku and decapitations. But when he's like maybe 8 years old, he's getting this right away. So let's talk about the series. TLDR, top recommendation. I have never read an Usagi Yojimbo comic I didn't enjoy. I haven't read it exhaustively. I think I've read like the first 4 volumes of like the old stuff, and then I've read like a random assortment of more recent Usagi Yojimbo comics, but every single one has been fun. It's top shelf material. You got to check it out. So with the TLDR spoiler-free version out of the way, let's talk about all my thoughts. So first off, I forgot that Will Eisner wrote the pull quote on the back of the book. That's a hell of a pull quote. Stan Sakai has successfully brought to American comics a collection of Japanese fables, well told in the American style. Usagi Yojimbo is a enduring work. Bravo. So one fun thing about Usagi Yojimbo is this could kind of like prompt your stupid internet. Is this a manga? Debates, where all the nerds are yelling at each other over the definition of manga. I don't know if I care that much, but the reason it would is, okay, well, is manga only manga if a Japanese-born Japanese citizen makes the comic? What if it's a Japanese-American comic creator? Is it only manga if it's written in original Japanese? Is it enough if it has Japanese themes? So what's fun about Usagi Yojimbo is Stan Sakai's a Japanese-American. He's authentically drawing from his, family background and his culture to tell a samurai story with animals in the Western comics style. So that's the mashup I think I really dig. So if you are a manga, weeaboo type who doesn't read American comics, what's fun about this is I think you're going to connect to a lot of this, even though this is more primarily the Western approach to comics. And actually, maybe one kind of interesting thing is if a lot of manga assume a Japanese audience, so they assume you know what they're talking about if they bring up, the Civil War and Toranaga or whatever. No, who am I thinking? Nobunaga or whatever, right? So they assume that their Japanese audience has that base cultural assumption. Stan Sakai is assuming a Western audience, so he actually defines and explains things that you might not know automatically, right? So a kid could learn about samurai culture through Usagi Yojimbo. Other big thing I like about it is Usagi Yojimbo works at 2 levels, a lot like the Ninja Turtles, but the Ninja Turtles work as both parody of goofy American action movies and a parody of American comics, and the Turtles work as genuine warriors. You can see yourself in the Turtles. Every boy has a favorite Ninja Turtle. Usagi Yojimbo works as both parody of Japanese movies and as a serious character in his own right. By the way, I'm going to tell my nephew that this guy is Leonardo the Ninja Turtle's best friend, and that's literally true. I didn't make that up. So, what I'm getting at with that is I lost the train of thought because I was doing the silly off the cuff humor thing, and then the brain fart went out the window. All right, so where I was going with that is Usagi Yojimbo works at these two levels where he can be a goofy parody of basically if there's ever a Japanese movie about it, like Godzilla or giant monsters or whatever, or giant robots. Usagi Yojimbo has parodied it, but then it will also do these really hard-hitting short stories that have a lot of depth to them. So that's kind of like the sweet spot it's always hitting. It reminds me of Samurai Jack too. Samurai Jack is an absurd universe, but Samurai Jack takes his mission seriously. So you can see the humor in it, and you can connect with the character and how urgent he is. Let me talk a little bit about the character and some of the historical reference points. So his name is Miyamoto Usagi. That's a play on Miyamoto Musashi, a real samurai, author of the Book of Five Rings, and the main character of the historical novel, The Samurai Trilogy, which was the inspiration, I think Kurosawa is the one who directed the Samurai Trilogy, but Toshiro Mifune played the character. This is the same historical figure who inspired the Vagabond manga. So Stan Sakai really knows Japanese history, and he pulls a lot of interesting actual reference points from history. So I would also say like Kurosawa films are a big inspiration for Sakai's work. So Usagi Yojimbo is a little bit like the Miyamoto Musashi character, and he's a little bit like the character from Yojimbo, played by Toshiro Mifune, where the Yojimbo character, I think Sanjurno is his real name. Sanjurno is a Ronin samurai who's kind of like dirty, he's flea infested, he's fallen on hard times, and he finds himself in the middle of essentially this civil war between a town. So one of the things I think is really pregnant and interesting about samurai films is a lot of these Ronin samurai films are asking the question of, what does it mean to be Japanese? What does it mean to be samurai after your side has lost the war, which connects directly to the 20th century Japanese experience of losing World War II, right? So samurai movies, I think, speak to the West because it's a nation looking back on its history and trying to connect with its history in order to understand who we are and what our future is. And even though Usagi's a parody character, he connects to that cultural tradition. So a lot of these are actual authentic fairy tales that are adapted with these characters. A lot of them use lovely motifs from Chanbara films. So Chanbara, I love Chanbara films like Zatoichi, Lone Wolf and Cub. Not only is he parodying these, but because he loves these films, he gets how to make a Chanbara film. The pacing of it. A lot of the action in Chanbara films is sort of theatrical. There's a lot of flourish to the fighting styles. And then in his fights, a lot of what will sell it are the cartoonish, over-the-top death reactions of the mooks that Usagi Yojimbo is cutting through. One more thing about art style. So I actually think that the art style is a little rougher in the first book. I think Stan Sakai got a little better at stylizing Usagi Yojimbo after a couple books, but you can look past some of those, goofy faces and look at this. This is a great page. He is such a master class at establishing shots and mood and pacing. And there'll even be like great little panels where it's just a teeny tiny little panel, but it still suggests a massive sense of scope. I'm going to show you a couple more I really like. This is a great sequence of just like purely visual storytelling where if you know what's going on, it really hits you emotionally, and then paralleling his composition on two sides. I wrote a tweet about this, but this is a great little convention. He knows the convention and the language of comics. So the two characters are talking, and then we have a scene transition where the character is speaking, his speech balloon becomes a box, and then the transitions into an editorial box. So it's like a scene transition with the character speaking verbally over the footage of the next scene. So Sakai is just chef's kiss, masterclass at doing this kind of stuff. So I would say, yeah, this is just like a general recommendation. If you're a manga fan who loves samurai manga, you love this. If you're an American comics guy who's not into manga, but you've got a samurai kick, this would be great. This is great for a first-time read. This is better than a lot of manga as a first-time introduction to Japanese culture because he's actually explaining the important aspects of Japanese culture you need to understand to get what's going on with Bushido. And one last thing about Usagi, the character, is I think he kind of he has this sort of pregnant quality where he is pure of heart, and he still has his samurai mission. But after the death of his lord, he's wanderer. A Ronin literally means waves, a wave. If you're a Ronin without a master, you are as free as the wave. So he becomes this romantic wanderer who is hard as nails and can cut through people, but doesn't take any pleasure in killing. And then he finds himself both in goofy scenarios that play up the comedic cartoon animal angle, and he finds himself in this gradually developing political intrigue in feudal Japan. It's the opposite. It's the opposite of Netflix series that I hate. What I hate about Netflix series is they're always 8-hour movies subdivided into 20-minute segments. Usagi Yojimbo is telling you a collective story, but every single episode hits you with a little moment or a little idea that is self-contained to that individual comic. So you enjoy every individual chapter, and then gradually we're building up this bigger idea of the feudal war that Usagi is actually getting caught up in. So that's it. High recommendation. You trust me on this. Once you take the Usagi Yojimbo pill, It's like, why would I ever go back to DC and Marvel making comics on purpose to make fun of me and frustrate me and like make a joke of the fact that they hate their readers? Sakai loves his material. He loves his character. He's invested in this character because it's his character. He built all this himself, and he really gets the art form. So get it. Just go get it already. You will not forget it. Trust me. Love you guys. Catch you later.